Okay, guys, I'm back. Today is going to be all about Joy Reid's firing and all the people reacting on social media to her being fired from MSNBC, losing her show, getting fired, along with, I think, 4 other people of color who also lost their shows, but they were not fired. But first, we're going to watch Joy Reid cry.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry, that what I was doing had value.
I'm sorry, your show did not have value. It was the most divisive, dishonest show on TV, probably. MSNBC is the most left-leaning network, and it's wild that they even let this show stick around for as long as it did. She should have got fired years ago. It's about time someone over there at MSNBC actually thought about the views they were getting and the money they were losing and decided, hey, maybe we should stop letting her talk.
And value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize. And then it mattered. I see Karen is there, and she's been texting me as well. And so what I will just say is that in the end, thank you.
Came through with the tissues.
Where I land is that the moment of guilt that I felt, that I went hard on so many issues, whether it was the Black Lives Matter issues of a young baby or a mom or a dad that was killed, or
yeah, the Black Lives Matter stuff, most people don't agree with that.
When we opened up people's eyes to the fact that Asian Americans were being targeted, and not just Black folks, or went hard for immigrants who've done nothing but come to this country like my parents did and try to make a life, and defended them.
She's gonna spew propaganda as she's on a Zoom call crying about being fired from MSNBC. And she's still doing it. She's still like, they don't let the con go. They will not let they will take the con to the grave. Talking about migrants who've done nothing but come here to make a life. What do you mean done nothing? You mean, are you talking about illegal migrants or legal migrants? Who are you talking about?
Or whether we've talked about what the president is doing that is subversive to the Constitution, that is injurious to our liberty, defending books that people find inconvenient, that Nicole Hannah-Jones put into our spirit, that we need to understand 1619 as the real founding of this country, whether it's talking about any of these issues, and yes, whether it's talking about Gaza and the fact that we as the American people have a right to object, to little babies being bombed. And where I come down on that is, I'm not sorry. I am not sorry.
The American people also have the right to object to your show by not watching it.
That I stood up for those things, because those things are of God. And I'm a church girl too, and those are the things that I was taught were of God. And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
Whew, she's literally not even stopping. She's still doing the same thing. She's kind of still doing the same thing, except there's a lot less anti-white racism. A whole lot less. Notice that. She's still saying the same propagandist, activist stuff that I would expect from someone who's a left-leaning journalist. All right, don't forget, we have Don Lemon, who is in his feelings right now about some words that Megyn Kelly had to say about Joy Reid after she was fired. Well deserved, because a lot of these left-wing journalists, propagandists, really hate Megyn Kelly.
So let me just say to Megyn Kelly, in my 30-some years as a journalist and my 50-some years as a person of color, go fuck yourself. Okay?
There's nothing in that.
I usually don't like to talk about her because she's one of those people. She thrives on it. She has built the second part of her career on being a troll. So this is what Megyn Kelly said about Joy Reid, right? And remember, Joy Reid is a woman. Megyn Kelly is a woman. She's supposed to be all about women and, supports women. Okay, so this is what she said. Remember when Joy Reid laughingly mocked white women tears as pathetic and offensive to her? Who's crying now, Joy? Good riddance to the absolute worst person on television And shame on NBC for letting it go on this long. And she has a, she is an axe to grind when it comes to MSNBC. And also, this whole, she's racist, right? It's just, I'm going to give you the evidence.
You can't claim that she's racist and then say, I don't want to give you the evidence. Oh my God.
Supposedly learned from it and then spent every day after apologizing for it and being fired for it, then spent every day proving the point that she is a racist and not very supportive of women. If you look, all you have to do, the evidence is in her Google search and what she says about women and how she calls them out all the time. The worst person. No, Megyn Kelly. The worst person on television was fired from NBC in the Today Show a few years ago, and that's Megyn Kelly. That's the worst person who's not on television anymore, is you. That's the worst person who's not on television. So hurrah for that. NBC did something good with that. You know why? I like to give proof of things, evidence. Like when I said Donald Trump, the president of the United States, was racist, it wasn't my opinion. This isn't my opinion about Megyn Kelly. The evidence is there. I'm going to show you the evidence of Megyn Kelly, and that's just as I showed you the evidence of Donald Trump.
Don't forget, we have Rachel Maddow. Let's see what she had to say about this.
Hour all the other nights except for Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that.
She said it's not her call, and she understands that. But here she is talking about how it's a bad idea. Big mistake.
That's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime. Both of our non-white hosts in primetime are...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I feel like she's about to say the R word or something, but let's go.
Losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend. And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know. From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do. And you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing. But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before.
Well, yeah, that's because it sucks. You're not getting any views. People get fired. You lose money. That means people get fired. I mean, the business has to make cuts to compensate for the money they have lost. It's kind of amazing how these anchors that sit in these chairs, they pretend like they know so much, but they don't understand how how the company that they're in even works. Listen, it's not racist. It's just ratings. That's all it is. It's kind of weird how they don't know how this works.
when it comes to programming changes, presumably because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient, and it's unnecessary, and it kind of drops the bottom out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do, but in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is extra stressful and difficult. It is not news for me to tell you that the press and freedom of the press are under attack in a way that is really, it's a big deal for our country. It's very visceral for us here. I know that the business of the press is not an easy thing, and I know that no job is forever. But I think I'm safe in saying for all of us anchors who you know through the TV, please know that what pains us the most is not what happens to us. It is what happens to our coworkers.
No, it is definitely the thing that pains them the most is when it happens to them. 100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
On whom we depend and who you don't necessarily know, but we respect and love them and depend on them. And did I mention we respect them? This is a difficult time in the news business, but it does not need to be this difficult. We welcome new voices to this place and some familiar voices to new hours. It's going to be great, honestly, and we want to grow and succeed and reach more people than ever and be resilient and stay here forever. I also believe, and I bet you believe, that the way to get there is by treating people well. Finding good people, good colleagues, doing good work with them, and then having their back. That we could do a lot better on. A lot better. I'll be right back.
Okay, so it is incredibly stupid for her to literally undermine her own network on national TV, on her network. Her boss, her employer. She's undermining her employer on national television. You know what she should do? You know, MSNBC should either fire her or I think Rachel Maddow should resign in protest for Joy Reid and all the other people of color who are being fired. It's so stupid. But I expect it's so stupid, but I know like that's something that could possibly happen. And just some advice to those people who are getting laid off from MSNBC. Just go work at Fox. Go work at Fox. Go work at News Nation. I don't know. Go work at Fox News Nation. Go work at Newsmax. Go work over there because the left wing media is falling apart. Ever since MSNBC got the new, I think she's a president now. I think she moved up from vice president to president. Ever since she came in, they've been making these cuts, and it makes sense for MSNBC to do that because they've been losing money, and if you're losing money, you got to make cuts. That's how it works. It just shows like it shouldn't even been going on this long anyway, because it just shows that Democrats, they can't do business and they can't govern either. They have all these people working on these shows, multiple shows that are doing poorly, yet they have all this production, all these people doing all these things, and the show still is trash. Like, how? Why? Because this is how it is. Like, when you lose money, you lose revenue, eventually you're going to have to start cutting employees. You have to start making cuts somewhere. You got to do it somewhere, or else you're going to run a deficit, and deficit is going to get bigger and bigger, more debt. You can't make the money back, and you're going to just work yourself into a hole that you can't dig yourself out of. So eventually you have to do something about it. It might be nasty. It might be messy. Some people might get some famous people might get cut out. Some meat might get cut out, but something has to be done. It might make sense for MSNBC to replace all of these people with right-leaning anchors, right-leaning journalists. I mean, I don't think she's the only one that's going to be fired. I'm pretty sure there's probably people on CNN. There's probably people on other networks that are probably going to get fired. There's probably going to be whole networks that just collapse. I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction that at least one left-leaning network will probably collapse within the next year. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you later.